Drive podcast.
Oh, welcome back to the Outdoor Drive podcast. This is your boy East Coast Trev and
This is Steve.
Lane.
What's up? This is really kind of weird, honestly, because this is like half of our dream that we wanted to do with the drive. We're halfway there, Steve.
You're literally on the drive, so you're sitting in a truck with Lane. Go ahead and give a quick rundown what the hell it is you guys are doing.
So, like we had always talked about with the drive was that envision to go out and hunt with people and podcast while we're on the road. So that's literally what we're doing. We're down in Maryland for opener. We came down here on Monday and we've been hunting the past 2 days, and tomorrow will be day number 3. We got on some birds and things were all right on Monday. They went on to private. And then today was just an absolute and utterly blowout. It was absolutely horrible, dude. Like 50-mile-an-hour winds. It was horrible.
Oh yeah, terrible, man.
So, Lane from In the Presence, we've had a podcast with him in the past. Lane Hauser has a YouTube channel, and we've been down here filming in Maryland. It's just absolutely insane down here.
It's a wild place. But you guys, the timing was really shitty. I'm not going to lie. Like, you got there right as this weird-ass storm hit. Like, we got 3 inches of snow yesterday. And then we got more snow this morning. Luckily, all you got was wind. So, there's that.
Some rain last night. There was some rain last night. But, yeah.
It was some rain. Bro, it was like, I don't even know. It was like a tsunami down here. It was 50-mile-an-hour winds. I thought my truck was going to tip over. There was wind.
Car.
Yeah, car. Oh yeah, the car. I forgot about the car. It like extensive flooding. It was just insane. And then we got into the woods this morning on a spot that Lane knew. We got in here and the wind was just howling so much. We started trekking down through this block of timber, and we ended up getting right underneath that hen.
Yeah,
that hen was
right underneath her. I kind of stood out from the cover there. Like, we were just kind of taking steps. I was right above you, dude. That hen exploded up out of the tree.
And we're trying to like strike up the gobble, running and gunning. We didn't hear a gobble all day long. Like, it was absolutely horrible.
That's absurd.
And one of the things that we're doing is we're staying completely and utterly mobile. We're bouncing around from place to place, moving from Walmart to Walmart, kind of like all over Maryland.
Hence the Walmart cooking bacon. Props on that. That was great.
That was lunch. So,
even better.
We're eating good.
That's all that
was
matters.
lunch. It was bacon. So we did frozen chicken patties with bacon and cheese, cooked in the Walmart parking lot off the tailgate. Tonight is flat iron steaks after we're done roosting up some birds. Hopefully roasting.
Yeah, roasting would be better, but
man, it's just, I don't know. It's something else, dude. It's something what we've always envisioned wanting to do. So that's what we're doing, man. We're just down here, just hoping for the best and hoping to kill a bird, man.
That's a good time, man. I'm glad you guys are out there getting to enjoy. And it sucks because you're literally like 2.5 hours from me, and I'm stuck down here grinding, working. But
I know
it's what it's about. You guys are there and you're doing it.
It's kind of crazy because we got to talking, the 3 of us, and what we're actually going to do is, well, hopefully if we get a kill, right? I mean,
we're gonna kill some, but we're gonna kill some.
It's gonna happen.
So I know. So what we're going to end up doing, all in all, we're doing a collaboration with In the Presence with Lane, and we're going to do a 2-part series where we'll do part 1 either on In the Presence or on the Outdoor Drive.
I don't know why you were going that way, but it's good. Good catch.
What that was all about. And so we're going to do half of it on In the Presence and then the other half on the Outdoor Drive podcast YouTube page. So it'd be kind of like a little 2-part they do 2-part series with podcasts and stuff. So we're thinking we're going to try and do something on the YouTube side.
Yeah. Mix it up. A little shared love.
Yes, sir. Be good.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate it, Lane.
Yeah, buddy. That's fun, man. Hopefully Trev can shoot a bird first. I'll follow up.
Hey, I don't care who shoots the damn bird. Someone shoot a bird.
Oh, Trev's shooting first, bud. Trev's shooting first.
There you go.
Jake and all, it doesn't really matter, honestly. If it's legal, I think we're going to knock it down. I think with the time that we spent and seeing these birds and stuff, hopefully a long beard. But
I'm telling you,
legal.
where you guys are, when something commits, it's going to be a doozy. That area in Western Maryland is got some of the biggest birds I've ever seen. So when something commits, it's going to be worth it.
Absolutely, man. And we were real close the first day. I mean, the first day was insane. I mean, as you guys will see in the video when we piece this thing together, is, we got in there. The first spot, we had a couple of hens had run across the road, I think it was, and we decided that's where we were going to go in. Which I don't know if that was a smart decision or not. But there was turkeys, right? So we knew we were going to get in that block of woods, and kind of not really knowing the area. So we get in that block of woods. We tried striking the gobble, nothing. And then Lane's like, dude, we got to go down further. We got to get farther into this block. So we're like, all right, let's go down. There's a creek bed. We're like, let's go down there. We saw it on the map. So we get down there. And at that point was right around fly down time. And we were trying to like hit the owl call to kind of get them to pop off, and nothing. And I'm like, dude, I said, it's all or nothing at this point. I said, it's about fly down time. I says, I'm going to give it to him. And he's like, let's do it. So I give him the old cheating hen from Nor'easter Game Calls, and they lit right up. So we should have, I think, looking back on it, been a little bit more aggressive and kind of really move right in on them. But with the woods being the way that it was set up, we weren't really sure if it was a good idea. So we just stayed kind of on the tote road, and we tried calling him down, and he just flew down and he started going the opposite direction. So then that's when we kind of like tried flanking around him, and we struck up a ton of gobbles, but the hens just kind of drug him off in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
And we just
it seems to be like we're a little early in the season here compared to usual. They're really henned up, whereas usually by now they're kind of breaking away by that 10 o'clock period. And another thing you brought up, which really made me laugh, is you were owl hooting and doing all of that, and you didn't get anything back until you hit the reed. And the same thing happened to us yesterday morning on our pre-work hunt, the one we did the video on YouTube yesterday. Literally got to the base of that hill and came into those pines, and was like, I don't like the way the pines look. There's going to be a bird there. Just let me throw an owl hoot, So I did the old Clint Casper, and nothing. And just dead silent. I was like, okay, we should be good. I walked about 20 more feet, and we blew two hens and a frickin' tom out of the pines. And I was like, why did they not strike? Well, right after in the video, you see, the Jakes come in, and they come in and do their thing and bail. And we ended up having like 6 owls on top of that hill that was behind them just start hammering for 20 minutes. I was like, they're so freaking used to it, they're not going to shot gobble to it. So I was like, next time we go in there, I'm taking the freaking coyote howler.
See, I'm not against it, right? But I've seen a lot of negativity come from it, where those birds will stay in the roost a lot longer with that. If you're going to do it at night, then I understand it. But in the morning, I've had it where those birds literally lock into that tree for so much longer.
And I get that. It makes sense because, there's a predator on the ground. But if I blow it on the far side of where we think they are from where we're hunting, so, Virginia mountains and ridges, you've seen them. If I blow from the far side where I don't want them and then scuttle around to the side I do want them and set up.
So you're using it as like a drive.
I'm literally pushing them my way. But if I can locate them before we go in, I can go, okay, we need to go below the mountain. We need to go above the mountain, below this block of woods in the field or above it, just because the damn birds, I mean, you've seen it here. They do not cooperate. They're a pain in the ass.
See, I don't know. I'm torn on the coyote call, and I don't want to keep bouncing back on it, but one thing I would use over a coyote call, I think a coyote call would be like my last thing to use, honestly.
Is a goose call.
I would go with the goose call.
Which agreed. And in that video, there's a section of video that I kept in there where we had a flock fly over. And they ended up busting like 6 birds as they flew over.
Did they gobble back?
Oh yeah,
to the
if you
goose
listen
call?
through it, you'll hear the
Yeah.
goose just walk, 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 and you just hear birds.
Yeah.
So I
It's such
agree
a
with you
natural
there.
thing that they're so used to that time of year that those local geese are in the area of a lot of places that we do turkey hunt. And I was showing Lane that, and he was like, "Dude, I can't believe that, right?"
No, I never done that before or seen that, honestly. Like that was a surprise to me.
And you can get them from such a far distance away to get them to do it back.
Right. It's
So.
just got that high pitch, high volume that reaches. So
It's crazy. But yeah, so we're hoping to roost up some birds tonight, and hopefully we'll have a podcast with a kill here shortly. Honestly, that would be kind of cool. Honestly,
hell yeah, that'd be badass. Well,
so
I wanna test your mobile skills.
oh great.
How well can you remember to thank all of those people that make this happen without your book?
All right, that's not that hard. We'll start with Northeastern Game Calls since it's turkey season. NortheasternGameCalls.com. Get them in close. The new Cheatin' Hen and the Widowmaker mouth calls, absolute fire. If you guys haven't checked those out, you're definitely going to want to go and check those things out. They are making these gobblers gobble like no other. And he's got a couple of different other calls on there. All of your season needs for turkey season. Also, we'd like to thank Latitude Outdoors, latitudeoutdoors.com. I know it's not mobile deer season yet, but you definitely want to be in the woods and definitely practicing these things.
Time to be learning.
It's definitely time to be learning and purchasing these things. And, mobile hunting is not one thing that you can't just do, right off the hip. You got to practice this stuff and get yourself, comfortable with the gear. So get on over to Latitude Outdoors and get your products now. Also, bow fishing magazine, Nick Sampson over there. If you guys are bow fishermen or want to get into bow fishing or be part of bow fishing, go and check out bowfishingmagazine.com. It's an online virtual magazine. He does a really good job with that. Also, Dirt Road Agency, Mr. Christian Costa. If it wasn't for him, a lot of this stuff wouldn't have come to fruition. Our website, so on and so forth. If you guys haven't already, go on over to outdoordrive.com and check that bad boy out. Who else do we have? Zeus Broadheads, newairarchery.com, the home of the Zeus Broadheads, B16, the Aries, you name it. There is still a sale at $39.99 for a pack of 3 Zeus Broadheads. I'm not sure if the Aries is on that one, but
I don't think the Aries is on there anymore.
No, but it's not on sale, right?
No.
Gator Outdoors, outfitting the working class. No, it's not even that anymore. It's Be the Reason.
That's right. Be the reason.
Be the reason. Gator Outdoors. GatorOutdoors.com. Use promo code OutdoorDrive25 on that one. Save yourself 25% on all the good stuff. A couple new t-shirts and hats out for your turkey season. Who else are we missing?
Can you get it? Because there's only one other network where we're being played.
Oh, the Outdoor Call Radio. How could you forget Mr. Dan Young himself? If you guys aren't checking out the Outdoor Call Radio, you guys are missing out on some of the best shows in the industry, honestly. There's Fred Eichler's on there. The boys, Michael Lee from Backwoods Life is on there. They're all on there. It's a great show. Larry McCoy is on there with Dan. They got from cooking to fishing, you name it, it's on there. You guys definitely want to download the app. He's got a ton of stuff. The Phrase That Pays, always giving out free stuff constantly. It's just a great network to be part of. If you guys aren't listening to the Outdoor Call Radio, you guys are missing out on life, honestly. I think it's kind of sort of choppy, but they're all there.
No, you nailed it, man. Well done. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
all that Maryland air and
Turkey hunting?
Things like that have not completely ruined your head.
No, just the liberalness of the air out here. Hold on, let me breathe some of that.
Does it smell like Pelosi outside?
It totally does. Oh, man. Well, buddy, what do you think? We got a good one for you, The House in the Woods. But before we do that, we got to check in with our buddy Mike Salter.
Yeah, man. Let's see what we got going on. bringing you the news for the cruise is our good buddy Mike Salter. Take it away, Mike.
Hey everyone, let's start this one off in Montana, where the Fish, Wildlife, and Parks Region 1 has implemented new regulations for this year's black bear hunting season. For the first time, FWP is no longer requiring Region 1 hunters to bring in their harvest for inspection. This year's pilot program will only apply to Region 1, where nearly 40% of the state's black bear harvest comes from. And hunters in Region 1 will now only be required to call FWP and report their harvest within 48 hours and submit a premolar tooth of their harvest within 10 days. The pilot is aimed at being more efficient, and according to FWP, if successful, it is possible that the new requirements will be expanded to other regions across the state. Now to Arkansas, where the public is being asked to help collect black bear data. The Game and Fish Commission is proposing to expand bear hunting opportunities in the state and is asking the public to report bear sightings to provide critical data to the state biologists. The public will need to set up a free account on iNaturalist.org and can then join the Arkansas Bear Study Project to enter the data. The best information to input would be photos with date and timestamps so biologists can compare animals being submitted. But observational information can also be useful without a photo, particularly if specific time and approximate location data is entered. So hopefully the data will support expansion of black bear hunting opportunities in the state. Now back to Montana, where Fish and Wildlife Parks uncovered an error in the deer and elk permit lottery. The error occurred regarding first and only choice hunting districts. Hunters who applied for these districts were inadvertently allowed to submit second and third choices, and those who chose second and third choices were automatically removed during the draw. The mistake affected 10 districts and almost 2,500 applications. Impacted applicants initially didn't see results in their MyFWP accounts, and until the situation is resolved, those applicants will now see temporarily that they were unsuccessful in the draw. So to fix the problem, FWP is doing the following. Hunters who submitted for districts 411-21, 447-21, and 595-21 and entered second and third choices will all receive permits. This is because the number of unallocated permits after the draw is greater than the number of applicants removed from the draw. Applicants for District 270-45 will also receive permits, and this is due to tags in that district being unlimited. As for applicants in districts 411-20, 417-20, 417-21, 426-20, 799-20, and 799-21, who were removed from the draw, they will be entered into a random draw next week. Those who are unsuccessful in this secondary draw will receive bonus points. This second drawing is being done due to the director having discretion to issue permits up to 10% above the quota. This 10% is being allocated to the second drawing next week. The director stated that the fairest solution to this error is to use my discretion to give all impacted hunters the shot at the permits they are owed. So good luck to all those getting a second chance, and be sure to check your results next week. Now to Ohio, where the Wildlife Council has approved an amended proposal for the 2022 fall turkey season dates and amended whitetail archery season in the 3-county disease surveillance area in north central Ohio. Fall turkey season will run from October 8th to November 13th, which is a reduction from a 52 to a 37-day season, which matches up to the 37-day spring season. For deer season, 18 counties will increase bag limits, and with the creation of the CWD surveillance zone in Hardin, Marion, and Wyandotte counties, the archery season will open 2 weeks earlier on September 10th. Lastly, to California, where the Department of Fish and Wildlife is bringing back in-person hunter education courses, which were eliminated during the pandemic. There will now be 3 options for completing your hunter education requirements. The first will be the traditional in-person training, which is recommended and often preferred by first-time hunters. It includes 10 hours of in-person instruction. Second is a completely online option. And third is a hybrid option, which students complete the majority of the coursework online and then a 4-hour follow-up in-person class. So options to suit all the needs of any new hunter. As always, if you have anything to send to me, please send it along. I'd love to add some more news. So reach out to me at Mike Salter on Facebook or bearded_bowhunter21 on Instagram. And with that, enjoy the rest of your ride.
As always, Mike Salter. If you guys aren't sending over your nudes to, your news over to Mike, Mike Salter, bearded bow hunter 21 on Instagram and Mike Salter on Facebook. You can also hit us up on email or on our website, Instagram, all of our platforms to kind of get us over the news. So we'll get it over to Mike himself.
Yeah, and you guys are slacking. I'm going to put it that way.
Why are we slacking?
Not you guys, the listeners.
Oh,
get Mike that news.
Really good. They've been very good about the news, honestly.
No, you're right. But if I talk shit, maybe they'll give him even more.
They will give him more. Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. Well, man, should we get on with the show? We are mobily doing the intro, so we need to go and roost some birds here.
Yeah, this is the best Trev will sound for this show, as you guys will hear in the episode. His mobile setup did a little bit better than his home studio setup this week, so
that's right. My USB cord was down.
Just bear with him. Hope the sound's good because the show's good, and it's one that hits close to home for me. So I hope you guys enjoy it.
All right, we're back with a good friend, Paul from House in the Woods. Paul? How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Very good, man. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening.
Awesome. I'm glad to be able to talk and see what's going on.
Well,
absolutely.
We certainly appreciate you putting up with our technical difficulties. As you can tell, Trev's not on his mic. Had some equipment malfunctions, and you've been very patient with us. So we'll start with saying thank you.
Not a problem. It's usually me that has problem with technology, so see, I understand.
We're here to make everyone feel better about themselves.
Yeah.
We call this on the podcast, we call this Trev's bloopers, because there's always something going on where I always blooper out something. Something goes on where I screw something up in life. So, so Paul, you have a pretty cool organization. Why don't you dive right into it? Why don't you tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about what you do?
Okay. Yeah. My name's Paul House. I'm executive director at House in the Woods. And I want to share why we started House in the Woods. It began in 2010. My son served, or our son served, in the U.S. military. He was in the Army. He was a tanker. He was on the Abrams A1 tanker, what he was trained for. Second tour, he was out on patrol with 2 or 3 other Humvees, and they were just investigating some things, and they had a tank, and the tank moved forward, and my son's Humvee moved forward, and the enemy detonated a IED under the vehicle, killed my son and 3 soldiers, an Iraqi interpreter. That was June 23rd, 2007. That was his mother's birthday as well. So needless to say, it was a tough thing to go through. Just one of those things, it could happen, hope it doesn't happen. But one of the things I said when the 2 soldiers came to our house that night is to people when they came to the house is God doesn't make mistakes. I said, I don't understand it all, and it hurt. It felt like somebody reached in and pulled my heart out of my chest and ripped it in shreds. And but from that, God gave us the strength to be able to start House in the Woods. We had our son's funeral here in the little town, 850 people at the time. And we had 11 or 1,200 people at his funeral at the local gymnasium. Great, a lot of support. To see some of his Army buddies that served with came to the funeral, and one of them spoke. But it was a very powerful message that his first sergeant had to the audience, and other people too as well. I spoke at my son's funeral. My son did. Very difficult, but we got through it. So then we were invited to Fort Hood, Texas, July 19th of 07. Our son was buried July 3rd of 07. And we went down, stayed with a friend of his, a couple. He was a retired lieutenant colonel and his wife, graciously invited us to stay there during the memorial. We were escorted the next day after we arrived on base to the chapel. I'll never forget, we went up the left side of the aisle, halfway up, and were seated. And we didn't know this. As we looked down, we counted the soldiers, including my son. There were 19 men killed that month in the Cav unit. So we're in this chapel with 18 other families. And we did get to meet after the ceremony the other 3 soldiers' families and talk with them, invited to the home that we were staying in, all 4 families. They had a nice catered supper for us. And long story short, the next morning I got up, went in the living room where the lieutenant colonel was sitting there reading the paper, talking about the war and what had happened, and tears flowed down my cheeks. It was one of those things. It was definitely a calling by God to do this, something I really can't fully put in words. But ever since that day, it's been such a great passion to want to help veterans and Gold Star families. So that was in 2007. And 2010, we got a certified letter from the IRS that we were 501c3. And from then, we started taking veterans on fishing and hunting trips. And to this day, we've had over 1,700 come from over 30 states. And we work with about 20 organizations in the country now. And the big thing is that camaraderie, and it saves lives. And we've had veterans tell us that, thank you for saving my life. So that's what it's all about. It's giving them another chance, or that camaraderie as much as we can. It's all free to them. We have home cooked meals. We have a beautiful 80 by 90 lodge. That's our home base, but we still travel different places in the state. And a couple trips we'll do out of state too. So that's kind of sums it up in a nutshell, but why we started, because I lost my son.
So whereabouts is your home base? Where is it out of?
We're in a little town called Lee, Maine, Lee. We're about 45 minutes from the Canadian border. And like I say, just small town people, kind of tucked in the middle of nowhere. And it's kind of a little, I guess, getaway for veterans. They can come and relax. So I don't know if you guys ever flew into Bangor, which is an hour south of us. We're 1 hour north, and like I say, a little town, and we usually pick a lot of the vets up right there at the airport. And I remember my son going to and from Iraq, that we would meet him down there when they passed through. Yep. So I met some of his buddies there too as well.
I think you do something very special that a lot of other organizations don't really do, and that's a sober environment where there is no drinking during your events. And I think that's a very important thing that you guys do that's a little bit different than some of these other events that they put on for some of the veterans.
Yeah, there are good reasons why we don't do that. Is suicide rates high. A lot of the guys, men or women, that commit suicide, alcohol or drugs is involved. I don't know. I don't want to say it gives them the courage to do it, but it does allow them to do things they ordinarily maybe wouldn't do. And also, we are dealing with guns. Every vet has a gun in their room. Some have handguns. We have guns. I guess if somebody's going to do something, they're going to do it. But this is a good atmosphere. They can be around and not have to worry about that, because sometimes people that drink do crazy things. We had a vet from just a recent retreat that we had. He was 5 weeks sober. We did not know initially, but he shared with us as the day went on, and the next day and the third day, he said, "Thank you so much for helping me." He said, "This was just amazing. Being in an atmosphere where everybody was right-minded and no drinking allowed. And if we had alcohol, being 5 weeks sober, he possibly could have gone right back to that. And he was contemplating suicide. So there's many reasons why. And it also is, I think, upstanding. And you want to do the best you can and be the best you can when you're together, right, and have the best time.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know personally, but I know like a lot of veterans and stuff, sometimes that's their easy way out is drinking. So with being in a camp with other veterans and not being able to subject to that, then they're able to understand like you could be helping them maybe in the long run, not go back to that, and stay sober or whatever. Show that there is a better motive to being sober and being around these people and still be able to control themselves and do what they need to do.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. And we've had veterans on occasion say, I didn't realize I could have this much fun, so to speak, without drinking. And if you want to get high, go out in the woods and listen to the birds and the animals and sit down with your buddies and or strangers that you never met, have home cooked meals. We have some of the best cooks in the world and guides, and it's just amazing. They love our vets. They all do. We all do. And that makes a difference. And they share that. They say they see it and they feel it. And that's what's important. And, we are Christians. Not everyone that's with us is Christians, but we're Christian based. And our son was a Christian. And another thing I said that afternoon, we found out he was killed, that I knew he went to heaven to be with his Lord. So that's a key thing for our survival. And being in the outdoors, of course, is a great way to get out and heal.
Absolutely. So what are some of the different events? I know you guys just did a very big one in Wisconsin, the sturgeon fishing and all that good stuff. So what are some of the events and the things that take place at House in the Woods?
Yeah, well, the next one we have is we're actually going to go to Florida here Saturday. We'll leave in to go on a gator hunt for about eight or so vets. Be our first trip ever, and it's going to be a good trip. A lot of the veterans are from down in that area. It's going to be a new experience for the ones that've never done it. I've never done it. I'm just going to go probably hang out and watch, help any way I can. But primarily, we do most of it here. By lottery, we do moose hunts. If somebody gets drawn and they want to donate one, like last year, we had 3 different ones that were donated, and 2 of them got bulls and 1 got a cow. That's a once in a lifetime hunt for a lot of people.
Right.
We do bear hunting. Yeah, we do bear hunting. We'll have 36 vets in the first and second week of bear season that we're going to do.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's just the atmosphere, and when the guys go out in the woods and whether they might see a moose, might see a deer, might see a bear, or shoot at a bear, or miss one, or harvest one. And if they harvest one, they come in with the bear, and everybody hovers around and laughing and joking. They tell their story, and you being a veteran too yourself, that camaraderie is so essential, so important to have. And then we do rabbit hunts, bobcat hunts, turkey, partridge, deer hunting, and some fishing trips we do. We go to Oswego, New York, Lake Ontario every year, and down on the Kennebec, striper fishing. So we try to do a variety. We're going to have a UTV ride coming up in June for 15 veterans. So anybody wants to bring the UTV and take a veteran with them, it's going to be a nice ride along the river and have a little picnic there out in the woods and just do something a little different, just getting out. And it's the whole atmosphere. It's really neat. We have a clay thrower at the lodge we take up in the middle of the field. They shoot clays in the morning, for example, if they want to. So we try to, and a lot of it is in the mornings. If they don't want to, they sit around, drink coffee, shoot the breeze, go into the tent and be outside. So it's a very relaxed. There's no pressure. We don't have counselors. So they have time to reflect, and if they want to go to their room, take a nap, they can. If they want to sit and drink coffee in the morning, half the morning, they can, whatever. So there's no pressure.
Awesome. That is definitely, it's the perfect scenario, because typically vets or anyone that's been through anything traumatic, you're so regimented into wake up, get after it. So being able to get there and disconnect and have that option to go, hey, I really don't want to get up at 4:30 and go out. I just want to kind of sleep and relax, get comfortable, and then we'll take it on in the afternoon. it's a mind reset. So it gives them that chance to break down and get a clear head before they go out to, get after it and do the busy work.
Yeah. And I tell the guys too, if they don't want to shoot an animal, bring your camera.
Yep.
No, you don't have to harvest an animal. And we've had guys that did that. They had a gun with them and they couldn't pull the trigger. And I said, that's fine. I said, this is about you. So, and
do you think that you had or have had one of those moments when like this had all, you in 2010 you had got your certification, and then after that there was that one moment that was like a I made it moment, or like one of those like memorable times where you're like, I'm so glad that I do this?
Oh, it's multiple moments. I was glad when we received the letter because we've been working on it for a couple of years with a lawyer, and we got rejected twice by the IRS. So how that happened is we hired a lawyer. We met with her. She sent the paperwork in. It got rejected. We did it over again. She sent it in. It got rejected again. This was a 10-month period. Finally, I had enough of the political aspect of it, and I called the IRS myself, which was in California. And I just said, after 3 or 4 phone calls, and my lawyer said, I don't want you calling her again. Well, I ain't paying no attention to that. So
that's a
anyway, yeah. So anyway, I had this last conversation with her, and I says, you know what? I don't get it. I just don't understand it. She said, you don't fit the criteria. I says, I think I do. My son was killed, and all we're trying to do is help men and women that serve our country. And finally, I think she got frustrated with me and directed me to her boss. And I left a message. And then 2 weeks later, I received a call back from him. And I told him my story. And he said, listen, I'm a 20-plus year veteran. I'm going to help you get your nonprofit status. And we had a letter within 3 to 3.5 weeks in the mail. But I vowed when this started that if there was a brick wall, if I couldn't go around it or under it, over it, I'd go through it somehow.
Absolutely.
And I've even told people that, hey, if we don't get certified as a nonprofit, I'm still going to do it. So whatever. It's such a passion when you lose somebody like that. I want to honor my son. I want to honor all the veterans and Gold Star families because Absolutely. They deserve it. And the drive, and it's still here. It hasn't changed. As a matter of fact, when you have things happen and see miracles like we have, and we've literally seen miracles, boy, I'll tell you, talk about some inspirational. When you see something happen way bigger than I am and that we are, it's phenomenal.
Well, the whole thing, if you ask me, started with the miracle to begin with, because how many people get to be the people bugging the IRS instead of the other way around and win?
Yeah. 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 Well, to be honest, I was at the boiling point where, enough is enough. And, if you don't approve it, then we'll do it anyway. So.
And that's the thing is it's the head down, nose to the grindstone. This is going to happen whether you like it or not. And it's that mentality where a lot of people by the second try would have just, okay, what's next? What do we do different? And like you said, you just threw the wall and you made it happen.
Well, we met with the governor prior to getting a nonprofit. I'm going to backtrack a little bit, and I don't want to beat this to death, but it was a fact. So we met with the governor's office, and they're wondering where we were. Well, the cabinet room is right next to his office. So we come out, and the governor introduces us and the adjutant general. And anyway, he asked everybody there, the politicians that were there, it was probably 30 of them. He said, I want you to help Mr. House and figure this out to try to get nonprofit, give us information. So that meeting went well. We had a second one without the governor there. That went well. We had the third one when it come time for the politicians that were there who were supposed to give us good information and do some of the work. Well, they started throwing numbers and names, and they did zero work. And halfway through the meeting, just like this, I said, stop, hold everything. I said, if you don't want to help, get out of the way, because I said, I'm going to do it with or without you. And you could hear a pin drop for 2 minutes.
Yep.
But there was probably a handful of people out of all those people that helped us. And I wasn't trying to be arrogant. I wasn't trying to be mean, but it was a passion, and I want to fulfill that passion. I want to honor my son and honor our men and women. And sometimes that's what it takes is grit. You get that grit with the passion, and you will go forward.
Well, I hate to say it this way, but in reality, especially in these days, politicians don't know how to stand up or deal with someone with a backbone.
Exactly.
So you kind of narrowed that field down and said, all right, who's here for the right reasons and who's here collecting a paycheck?
And the ones that did were incredible. They helped us as all they could. And I called one a pit bull, Elizabeth Snyder, and she doesn't mind. I've told that to her face. She's now not in politics anymore, but she hounded the governor for moose tags. We were involved in that, and for a year, because it got rejected by Danny Martin, who was, probably shouldn't throw names out, but I don't care. But
It's a good place to do it.
He was going to do it again, and the governor got wind of it because he knew what we wanted, and he called him in and said, hey, you're not going to do that. He says, you will donate 6 tags to the veterans. So we were instrumental in helping that process, with others too were involved. But so I called her a pit bull because she loved the mission. She saw the value in it, and she followed through, and she was incredible. She did a great job. Elizabeth Snyder. Yeah.
There's a passion, and it's there for a reason. Is there, was there something that, when you had hunted with your son or something that's really put that fire underneath you to make this happen so that these other veterans can enjoy it like you guys did?
Yeah, I have an older son who's still with us, Luke, and my daughter was the middle, and my youngest son, Joel. But yes, I last hunt together with my oldest son, Luke, and myself. And my daughter's name's Joy. If I don't say that and she hears about it, she'll get mad if I don't mention it. But anyway, Joel, Luke and I and Joel went bear hunting for the last time. And of course, we come back out of the woods and tracked the bear that I had wounded. And we never did recover it, but it was a great time being together. Then next day, he had to leave to go back overseas. And that was hard to see him go. And anyway, after he was killed, that was June 23rd, 2007. August came because I had bear baits probably 15 miles away on dirt roads. So I drove in there and I walked in the path that he sat in the tree stand. I forced myself to walk in that path to the stand, which was an old wooden stand, laying under a great big hemlock tree. I put it in position, upright position, climbed in it and sat in it, and I cried like a baby. That was one of the most difficult things that I did, but I knew I had to do it. I had to face reality. And another time was here, I had his ID card, which was singed from the blast, and you could still smell the residue from the bomb. And I'll never forget, here in our kitchen, I got on my knees with that in my hand and cried a lot. And those are the moments that I'll never forget. And there's others too. I've had dreams and all kinds of things, but those are moments I'll never forget. I don't want to forget them because it keeps that in my mind of his sacrifice and all the others that have sacrificed. And that's something a lot, I think our country has forgotten. Our government has forgotten the sacrifice that these men and women have given. And it shouldn't be that way. I'm not going to let it on my watch be that way. And I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. I'm not telling you this for that reason. I do it because we love our vets. It's not just me. It's all the volunteers, all the people that donate to keep us going, keep the lights on, keep the heat in the building. It's everybody. And when people help us, I say, you're now a family member, because everybody has a job to do. And we may not have the finances, other people do. I may not have the skill to work in the office, but others do. So everybody can help in some form and matter. So I just appreciate everybody that participates. And And it is catching on. It is catching on.
So do you have a big team of people that help you out all the time, or is it?
Well, we do. We have, for example, the bear hunt. I give that example. That's our biggest event. But every event is important, whether it be a day hunt or a 3-day hunt or 7-day hunt. I can always call these people and say, hey, the guys, can you come and help us, for the day or for 3 days? And they're more than willing to come help. In the kitchen, there's probably 25 to 30 on a rotation. Like the bear hunt, for example, for 2 weeks, they come in, some will come in for breakfast, some for lunch, some for supper, but we have 3 core people that are there all the time, and they're phenomenal. We have some ladies that will just cook pies. Some will cook brownies. Some will cook cookies. Some will cook, and we have a chef, used to own her own restaurant, and she's phenomenal, Sonia. And the guides are the same way. They volunteer. They use their own vehicles, their gas, their time. To me, time is valuable. And anybody that takes the time out of their life to help says a lot about who they are. So yes, we have a great core group of people. Yeah.
And with all the hunts, like when you do all those hunts, how do you find the veterans to be able to fill those beds in those hunts and stuff?
Well, it used to be we had to seek the veterans out. We may call BFWs, Legions, go to a sportsman show, meet a vet. One of the vets actually that's still with us guiding, he was our first fishing retreat veteran, him and his son and another soldier. And he's been with us guiding ever since. So he was on the first trip and he's still with us. And it's phenomenal. But now it's word of mouth. We work with about 20 organizations. So we allow some of them so many, each year to send. And then now we're getting so many, we're going to have to do a rotation. Like our bear hunt's full for 22 this year, and next year's full. And we have a list. And we're getting anywhere from 5 to 10 requests a week for moose hunts, bear, bobcat, fishing, turkey, different events that people hear about us and now asking us for trips. So now it's between the organizations and word of mouth, it's really spreading. We're going to, I don't want to say we're going to have a hand so full we can't do it. We just can't help everybody. So we try to pick veterans that we feel deserve to come. They all deserve to come, but
the ones that need it most.
Yeah, that need it most. That's our primary goal, the ones that need it, exactly.
Absolutely.
And we can't always pinpoint them, but we do the best we can and try to find them. We've had not all veterans that come are wounded. Some are, some are not. We've had double amputees. One was a Marine. He went way up north. We called a moose in 200 yards, a nice big bull, and he was in our action track chair, and he got to shoot that thing at 200 yards. The thing ran in the skidder trail, and he got to motor up with that track chair, go right in, get his picture taken. So, those are special moments, but they're all special in their own way. A rabbit hunt is special. A day rabbit hunt is special. It's really hard to put in words, but when you're there and you see it and you see the change and you hear the stories and what some of them have been through, it's very humbling.
Absolutely. And I can relate. I've got to see a lot of that happen. Went through similar things myself, came out, went through an organization similar to yours, and it was a big factor in my being able to kind of return to reality. And it does make a difference. People on the outside really can't see it. As you're so intimate with it, you get the whole perspective. But the outsiders, because they're not the vet, they're not intimate, it's a cool thing, but they don't understand it until they've seen it. Every time we get new volunteers, hey, yeah, I'll come give you a hand. And by the end of it, they're going, what else can I do?
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, as you guys grow, hopefully the volunteer base grows with you. And you have more people wanting to come in and, hey, let me see what it's about. And by the end of it, they're going to go, what more can I do? And I've got 3 more buddies.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the thing.
Goal. That is our goal, to keep things rolling. You do need, you need more volunteers, need more help. And people are seeing that. It's a process, like you were saying. It is a process. But it's just like, we had one guy that he needed to earn some money, so he's doing fishing and bear guiding, which is fine. But now we've had 2 others that have volunteered to take his place. So people are, starting to step up to the plate. But we do need more volunteers.
Absolutely.
It's time to go.
Well,
yeah,
and like you said, time is valuable. So when someone donates that time, it's as much gold as gold is. So money is great. You can do a lot with money. But if I have a pile of money, but not the support to put it on, you don't have the personnel and everything you need, it comes down to people are just as valuable as the money to make this thing happen.
Exactly. 100%. You can always find money, right? But you find a good volunteer, you can't buy them.
There's no price for that.
No price.
Absolutely.
So now with the state, like you had before, like them donating moose tags and bear tags and stuff like that, is that still something that they do, or is it something that you guys have to?
They have a hunt up in the broccoli fields, which we used to be a part of through the state. But we, once we kind of swung on our own and built our lodge, we now take vets out in the woods, because those hunts are good up there, but they're crop deprivation hunts, which is good, but I like going out in the woods, and they can spend the whole week with us. They can go bird hunting up there. It's 3 days, which is, again, nothing wrong with that. And it's great that vets can go do that. But the bear tags, anybody can get a bear tag.
Right.
Yeah, moose is the only thing that we're restricted with a lottery. But if, let's say you put in, you get drawn, you didn't want the tag, you could call me up and say, hey, I want to donate this. We'd contact the state of Maine. We'd find for that hunt, we decide ourselves to pick a combat wounded vet, because it's really a once in a lifetime hunt, or somebody that isn't able to do a hunt on their own.
Right.
But all the other hunts and fishing trips, or anybody can get a license or go do it.
Is it tough to do a combat vet? Like sometimes if they're a double amputee or something, or like how do you go about making that? And
no, we've had them on the bear hunt and moose hunts. We have a couple action track chairs. We've done a fishing trip where we drove out to Oswego, New York, and we picked them up in the wheelchair and set them in the boat. So you make it happen. We cut the trails like for bear hunting, make it as smooth as we can. They can motorate in there with that track chair with a guide with them. And it's really not an issue. It's just a matter of working things out. It could be deer hunting too, blinds, you could use blinds, even bird hunting. You can do the same thing. We don't have too many, or we haven't, that are restricted like that. We've had double amputees that won't use a wheelchair. They'll walk.
Yep.
I had one that I cut a stick for him, double amputee. Then he held on my shoulder, and we walked to the tree stand. There was a big rock next to the tree stand. He pulls his prosthetics off. I take him, lean him up against the hemlock tree, and he's close enough on that big rock to the tree stand. He pulls himself over and climbs the tree himself.
Yep.
So you talk about being inspirational, and watch that is something to see.
Yep.
You don't really have much to complain about after watching them do something like that, right? You wake up with a backache and you're like, well.
And that is true. That's so true. And you try to share that with people, say, like you just said, you think you had a bad day, you lost your phone, or something happened. That's not a bad day. Bad day is when things happen the way they went through. The veterans that have gone through and survived. And now look at it.
Well, and that's the big thing. We always had a kind of a saying that went with it, is you could see these guys who've been through absolute hell, and they get up every morning with a smile on their face, and they're the happiest people you ever knew.
Yeah.
because they want to prove to the world that they're not handicapped, they're handy capable.
Yeah, hey, it's amazing what they do. I've seen it. It's phenomenal, and nothing to complain about.
The gentleman that had got us kind of connected was Aaron Ritter, and he is something else, also an amputee and everything like that. Like, talk about inspirational. He's one of those guys that, like, you're like, wow, man, like you don't have a leg, but you still climb a tree stand, you still saddle hunt, you get after it, you go hunting all over. I mean, he's something else, man. Like, you think you had a bad day. There is no such thing as a bad day, man. Like, unless you're not here. I mean, that's the only thing it could be a bad day, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's true. And if you can see that and witness it, it's great to hear about it. But when you witness it and see it and talk to them, it's you don't forget that stuff. You just don't. It sticks with you, and that drives you to want to do more. The more we do this, the more we want to do it.
Absolutely.
Can't do enough.
Right. You can never, you feel like you can't do enough.
Right.
You want to do more all the time, whether or not you can.
Yeah.
And I completely get that. Now, you've had quite the vast number of vets come through. Out of them, do you have any favorite hunts or trips or outings of any type? The ones that just snap to your mind, something funny happened, or, this was just amazing. It just hard, you can't top it type situations.
Well, because the first one is special. I was telling you about this guy, Al, and his son in Maryland. First ever trip. I'll never forget that trip. And Al's still with us. One was this past year, one of our guides, Mike Thurlow. We had a cow hunt for a veteran, and I kind of let him, take the lead. He's the guide, good hunter. Me and Angie sat in the back seat. He's with the vet up front, and his son, Ty, also helped, Mike's son. So here we are on the third day. We have a 6-day hunt. We have about 10 to maybe 15 minutes left. We're driving out to head back to the house we're staying in, way up north. And they see a cow. They get out. He shoots it. And as they're walking to approach the animal to see where it went in the woods, they hug each other. They put their arms around each other, and it's like, that's what it's about. That's what it's about. He's a father figure to him, and he just did something he's never done before, and he's special. We treated him, I say special, he's our guest, right? We're going to give him the best of what we have. And to see that, that's a bond there. And he'll never, that veteran will never forget that. Never. He'll never forget that. And those are things like that. And I've had others too, a lot of them actually, that we had a vet that maybe Angie shared it, but 2 years ago, he was here for the week of bear hunting. The 2 big glass doors where he was going to get ready to exit the building. There's a bunch of us standing there in the foyer. Before he goes out through the door, he turns and says, this week has done more for me than 20 years of therapy. That tells a big story.
Absolutely.
And another soldier was there. He said the next morning, he was there the first day. Next morning, he'd come a day early, I guess. He got up and come in the great room where we eat and stuff. And he said, this is the first time I've slept for 8 hours in a year. Those are moments you don't forget. It's not all about when they harvest the animal, although it can be, like the first one I described. But it's that bond. It's that. And people tell us this, and this is God's work, all right? I tell people that. Because there are things that happen that I cannot justify. I can't wrap my head around it. But God does. And I tell my guides, I said, when you go out and you're baiting, don't worry about the flies, the cold, the rain, wind, whatever. Focus on the end result, and you're going to be helping somebody. You're going to see them laugh. You're going to see them smile. That's what I look at. I don't worry about what it takes to get there. We're going to get there. It's look at the end result. You keep your eye on that end result, and these things won't matter. So what if the flies are out and you're alive, and it's rainy and cold and wet and muddy? So what? That's a small sacrifice to somebody that's gone overseas and fought for our freedom.
These soldiers have really, the soldiers have really gotten to you, huh? And I say that lightly. Like I say that because they've really put that drive and that passion in your heart, that there is no bad day. There is nothing like that. And you have instilled that in yourself, and now sending that message down the line to have that type of operation where it doesn't matter. Like, we're going to have a good end result. We're going to have a good day. We're going to kill something. And it's amazing. It really, truly, honestly is amazing to see it in your face.
And it's something I always wanted. And it's like anything. It takes a while for something like this to resonate, I guess, out to people or radiate out to people. And it's been happening. And I feel, again, very humble. I'm an ambassador for Christ, right? I'm just doing God's work. It's not me. And yeah, I've seen a lot of miracles, and it's just, that's inspirational. We've had a couple of years in a row that we were ready to lose all our insurance. We had a couple $1,000, maybe $2,500 in our checking account. We had a down payment due on our insurance within a few days, and we were going to lose everything. And I told him, I said, well, it's up to God now. I said, we've done everything. We've worked hard. We've done everything we can. We get a call from somebody and says, I usually will give this money in June, but I'm going to give it to you before that. It was a check for like $11,000. We got another check in the mail within a week of that one from a nonprofit in another state. We no idea who it was, for $15,000. And about a week or so later, we got another check from somebody who we did know for $10,000. It just blows your mind. And we were that close to losing our insurance on our building. You can't have a program if you don't have insurance.
Right. They'll shut it down.
This happened 2 years in a row. But we stuck with it. We trusted God, and I don't doubt him. I don't worry about that stuff. You just keep focused on the mission and have the passion, and as long as you're doing the right thing, it'll fall into place.
So what's kind of the future for House in the Woods, and kind of what do you guys have forward, and what's kind of like your dreams of what you want it to become in the future?
Well, I want it to stay on the same level. I know we're going to grow, but I never want to get to the point where we can't sit down and talk to every veteran in a personal way. Never want to grow the retreats so big that you can't go say, hey, so-and-so, let's sit down and talk. If they want to, just casual conversation. You get to know everybody. So that part I want to stay the same. And as far as the program, we want to be able to do more. Obviously, do more trips. Maybe in the future, we can help pay for airfare, meat processing, taxidermy, that type of thing. We have on occasion. We've asked for sponsorship in some of those occasions, but we would like someday to be able to pay all of that in full and buy all their licenses. Like I say, on occasions, if they really can't afford it, we'll buy the license, we'll get a plane ticket, we'll find a way. But if we'd like to do it for everybody in the future. And we're trying to build an endowment, an $8 to $10 million endowment, so the longevity of House in the Woods will be here.
So if somebody was to want to get involved, if there's a guide that's listening, or somebody, or just a helpful hand to go up for a couple of days, or how would somebody get a hold of you to try and do such a thing?
They just go to our website, which is houseinthewoods.org. You'll see my phone number on there and Angie's phone number. just either you'll see emails on there, shoot us an email or a phone call. We'll be more than glad to talk and see where that individual's at and how they want to help and, when they want to help. And that would be a great thing if people would love to volunteer. And even, like you said, even if it's for a day or 2 days, it doesn't have to be a full week. They may want to help bear bait. They may want to help around the building, cleaning up in the spring. There's always stuff to do. There's plenty of things to do to keep busy.
So we have one last question for you before we let you go, and it's one we ask everybody, and I'm almost kind of afraid to ask this one, Steve.
I wouldn't say afraid. I would say I think this will have a different outlook than our typical response.
So us being the Outdoor Drive, we always our last question, our closing question is, what drives you outdoors? So, Mr. House, what drives you outdoors?
Well, first and foremost, I'll say this. I grew up with a big family, all right? My mom had 15 kids. My parents didn't have much money, right? We knew the value of, a good home, having plenty to eat, grew our own food, our own beef, our own chickens, our own eggs, own milk. We had everything. My dad wasn't a big hunter, but he used to take us hunting. And I'll never forget the days he did in fishing. And that's always stayed with me. And then after losing my son and spending time with him in the woods, that in itself has been a driving force in my life and being in the outdoors even more. And of course, wanting to share that and share it with others that are in need. But to begin with, my son is my driving force. To me, if I didn't do something, it'd be a dishonor to his life and a dishonor to all the men and women that are served in the past and have given the ultimate sacrifice. So I know that's kind of a roundabout way, but that driving force is something I can't really put in words.
And
there's something there that you think you're out of gas, you're driving your vehicle, you think you're out of gas. I'm going to push it to the gas station, right? If I'm going to get it one way or the other, I want to push it to the gas station. And that's how I feel when I'm so tired that I can barely stand up, that I'm going to keep pushing because I know the end result is good. And that's the driving force to me. I love the outdoors, always have, but now I love it even more.
That's outstanding. So one thing I did want to touch on before we cut off is, what was your son's name and rank?
Posthumously, he was promoted to sergeant. His name is Joel A. House, Sergeant Joel A. House. If you look him up, you'll see all kinds of stuff about him. But he was very quiet, very humble, didn't say much, but when he spoke, people listened. He was a hard worker. He knew the value of life. And he was a good man, good son, good soldier. And he did his job, and he went above and beyond his job.
Well, we certainly appreciate his service as well as his sacrifice. It's real close to home for me, and we're proud that we were able to bring you on here and share his story as well as your story, because, like you said, I think it's something that's being forgotten these days. So anytime we can bring it back up and remind people, go out there and familiarize yourself with one of the fallen, and this is a great place to start.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, and you're going to have to sign up for one of our retreats.
Well, I may come up there and just give you a hand. How's that?
That sounds great. Bear baiting is a great way to get your hands dirty and get out there and see a part of Maine that you've never seen before.
That is true. I have not seen that far north, so.
You might even see a moose, maybe.
Well, we'll just have to look into that. I think that'd be a great chance to come up and visit and be able to give back and do something good.
Yeah, so. I'm serious. If you're not doing anything for the month of August, or even come out for a few days or a week, whatever. Come on up. We'll feed you and take care of you.
Well, we greatly appreciate that. Outside of your website, is there anywhere else that anyone can follow along, social media or anything of that nature?
Well, we're on Facebook, of course.
Okay.
But, we are working on a lot of advertising. We are here probably this summer sometime. We're going to be advertising on the Pursuit Channel. So look
Wonderful.
for that. We have a big fundraiser coming up, a radio station. 5 of them actually going to do a fundraiser too, coming up in June. They're going to do a 3-week-long fundraiser. And so listen to the radio, events like that. So primarily a lot of it's word of mouth, but we're trying to get more visibility so we can help more veterans and be aware of what's going on and how we can help. So we're working our way towards more awareness in a broader scope, trying to reach more people in different places we haven't been able to do before, even towards the West Coast, trying to reach out that way too. So
outstanding. Well, we hope we can add to that and get some word spread, reach some of that new area that you're looking for. And for everybody listening, I highly, highly recommend, if you want to do something outdoors that's special and meaningful, look them up and find out how you can give them a hand. It's something you'll never be able to experience any other way. So my advice, look them up, get familiar, do what you can, because it goes a long ways for a lot of our servicemen and women. And we're just going to go ahead and call it there. And thank you guys for taking the ride right here on the Outdoor Drive.